means it is global positioning system. So what is our main aim? What is the aim of GPS? It is just to locate a particular feature. Okay, whatever be the Earth's bodies that is available. For example, if we are doing some survey, what we are doing? We are finding the horizontal distance or vertical distance of the or vertical height of that particular point with respect to some I don't know. I think it's audible. Okay, so whatever be the Earth's features are there, we can locate that particular feature with respect to some exact locations. Okay, some with respect to some datum points, we can locate that particular feature. So what does GPS means? It's a short form of global positioning system. You already know what is the concept of GPS in your mobiles or watches like that. It will be already available. So what is the principle of GPS? It is working based on some satellites. Okay, so GPS it is global positioning system. It is a radio navigation system. It is formed by a number of satellites. Okay, so on the total 24 satellites are there, and actually many satellite systems are there. The initial one satellite system launched it is in 1978, and in 1973 it became operational. 1995 it became fully operational like that. Okay, then in when there is a satellite system called Nowstar. It is the most commonly used. It was actually introduced by United States. So this Nowstar is a short of navigation with satellite timing and ranging. This is a short Nowstar, and or we can say it's the GPS. Referred to as GPS means it's a Nowstar GPS installed by United States. So what is actually GPS? It's a series of 24 satellites, and this 24 satellites will be having 6 orbital planes. It will be orbiting in 6 orbits. Okay, on each orbit, on each orbital plane, almost 4 satellites will be there. Okay, so when the satellites are moving around the Earth along the orbits, we are able to collect the features based on this orbital motion of the satellites. Okay, so the satellites will be having a particular position at any particular instant. The satellite, each of the satellites will be having a particular position location, and will be moving at a particular velocity and direction of travel. All that will be having its own characteristics. Okay, there are the control segment, space segment, and there is a user segment. So what is it is shown in this picture? These are the 3 components of GPS. So what is the space segment? Okay, space segment it is referring to the satellites. Whatever be the satellites, this it is indicating the satellites. So the satellites it is indicated as a space segment. And what is the user segment? It is the users who are using the GPS. That is who are uh, keeping the GPS receiver. Okay, whatever be it may be the GPS equipment or it may be some mobile or like that. Whatever be the user, it is a user segment. Then there is a control segment. So this control segment actually it is indicating there is a including of many components. There is a master station, some monitor stations are there, as well as the ground antennas are there. Okay. So due to the interaction of those 3 components of the control segment, whatever be the radiation that is received from the object that is collected sent back to the receiver, or if any some corrections are required it will be corrected by means in terms of the monitor stations or the master stations like that. Okay, so some particular functions are there for each segments of the control segment. So mainly we know the 3 components are space segment, control segment, and there is a user segment. And what is the control segment is pictured here. I think I need not elaborate this because it's already covered in your classes. Okay. And usually in the control segment, the antennas will be collecting the signals. Whatever be the signal that is collected from the satellite will be collected by the antennas, sent to the monitor or master stations, and after corrections or some programming like that will be sent back to the antennas, and antennas will be sending these signals back to the satellites. Okay. So anyway, the satellites will be able to collect the features by means of this mechanism. So here it is showing what are the control segment, different stations. Okay. So coming to your procedure of GPS satellites, I just wanted to know what are the functions of the different segments. That's all. For example, in the control segment, the almanac is there. Almanac means it is all the details of the GPS satellites. It may be in correct position or correct health condition or like that. This data will be available in the form of like chart. That is called the almanac data. Okay. So whatever be the condition or the present condition of the different satellites, it will be included in the almanac. Again, whatever be the satellites that are available for us for collecting the data, that will be retrieved from the almanac data also. So this the again there's a FMS data, that is the accuracy, the satellite position accurate data. It is received from the LR, which is your space segment. And in this space segment, it is placed at an altitude of about 20,200 kilometers, so much far from our Earth, 20,200 kilometers. Okay, and the satellites are moving along its orbits. Each satellite will be having its own assigned orbit. Okay, details, Earth features will be sensed by the satellites. Okay, so I'm just skipping all this. And coming to the user segment, we know different applications are there, the military applications, disaster relief surveying, like the different applications are there. In each application, our main target will be to locate our position. Okay. So for that, what we're doing, the GPS receiver will be placed on that point at which whose GPS coordinates to be obtained. So actually in the GPS data, in the GPS locational data, what we are retrieving, it is a latitude and longitude. Okay. So where the GPS receiver is there, that position of that GPS receiver will be retrieved by the satellite. So that we can see in the next slide. And here it is shown the different GPS satellites. I think you already covered this in your theory syllabus. The now star GPS, there is a GLONASS, there is a Galileo and video like that. Okay, different satellites. Again, Indian satellites are also there, but still we are using the now star GPS only, which is the USA introduced one. And now how GPS it is working? It is based on the triangulation process. So what is the triangulation process? So triangulation means it is like collecting the distance of that position with respect to the satellites. Okay, that is, we are locating the position of our GPS receiver by means of 3 or 4 satellites. Actually, minimum 3 number of satellites will be required, and the fourth satellite it is required for correcting the error. If some error is there, that can be corrected by means of the fourth satellite. So altogether, 4 satellites will be minimum required. If more the number of satellites, more will be our accuracy. Okay. So this counting the location with respect to the different satellites. This process it is called the trilateration process. Okay, triangulation, or it is also called trilateration process. Okay. So what is the trilateration process? What is the trilateration process? For example, imagine a particular example is the okay. For example, a case like somebody has left, he don't know his location, and he was trying to identify. He was asking to some friend. So his friend is telling like he is 625 miles from a place like Boys. Okay, so in that case, he is able to identify, for example, is location of the boys. It is already a fixed one. So with respect to that location, it is around 625 miles means if we are assuming a radial circle or radial spherical area around that point in any perimetrical boundary, our point can be. Okay, the person who's left. So this is the first assumption. Please wait my cursor. Okay. So when we are identifying with reference to this, we can say that if there is a particular location of the first satellite, okay, we already know what is the position of that particular satellite. So with respect to that satellite, from that, at how much distance we can locate our boundary along the radial distance. Okay. Similarly, if we are able to identify the distance from some other feature, so some other location like Minneapolis it is taken, okay. So from the second station or from the second satellite again, we can imagine from some how much distance our location is. So likewise, we are trying to locate our location with respect to the two satellites. Okay. So similarly, let us consider a third satellite also. Okay. So what we are getting from the third satellite, this was the first location we are getting. Our location with it was at some distance from the boys. Similarly, from the second location of Minneapolis, we are at some radial distance from Minneapolis. So the common intersection of those two, that is in this area, our location will be. Again, considering with respect to the third location. Again, with respect to that summit radial distance, our location. From this, we are able to identify the exact location. This point will be the exact location with reference to these three available locations. Okay, so likewise, what we are doing here from our known locations, from our places whose locations are already known, with reference to that, we are able to identify the exact position of ours, or if with GPS it is placed on our in our hand or like that, we'll be able to trace what is the location of the GPS. Okay, so the same concept it is introduced in trilateration. Okay, so it's given some another example, that's all. So I think it's clear. So what is our application with GPS? It is with reference to the satellites they're doing. Okay, so when you're coming to the trilateration process in the satellites, it is shown here. Okay, okay. So there is one of the satellite. Okay, so you know satellite means it is positioned at somewhere on the space itself. If our position it is at 10 miles, if just imagine like we are at 10 miles from the position of the first satellite, so it may be anywhere around this at 10 miles or at the spherical distance. Similarly, considering a second satellite, so here it is positioned the earth also. Okay, so considering the second satellite, This is the second satellite considered. So with respect to the second satellite at 15 miles, it's a location of ours. Okay. So we'll be able to trace our location on the earth with respect to these two satellites. And using the third satellite, still the area of coverage will be reduced. Okay. So likewise, the exact location can be traced by means. Okay, so here is a picture showing four satellites are there. So by means of the four satellites, our error can be the minimum. Okay, still reduce. The maximum error can be reduced. If more satellites, if 5 or 6 satellites are there, that is, if we are able to collect the data from 5 or 6 data details, satellite details, in such a case, the location details what we are able to collect will be the most accurate. Okay, so this is a concept of the trilateration process, and that is done by means of collecting the details from the satellite. Three satellites should be there. So what is the concept we are using here that is coming only? I'll just show. So what actually it is done, some radiations or radio waves are sent from the satellites, okay, from by using some sensors or like that. And this radio waves will be traveling at a speed of the speed same as the speed of the light. And what is the speed of the light? It is around 186,000 miles per second, or in terms of kilometer, it is 3 lakhs kilometer per second. It's the speed of the light. Okay. So based on this speed, whatever be the distance of that satellite from our location of the GPS can be traced by means of the equation. What is the distance? Distance is equal to speed into what is the time taken. Okay. What is the time taken for the radio waves to travel from the source to reach the GPS receiver? That time multiplied by velocity will be giving what is the distance. So that distance will be giving what is the distance of the satellite from our GPS station. Okay. So by means of this equation, and we are using the corresponding equation for 3 or 4 satellites. Based on this 4 satellites, we'll be able to trace what is the exact location of ours. Okay. Mm, okay. So this is a concept of the GPS. So using the GPS in our survey lab, I think we are all. I just shared a GPS. YouTube had a demonstration had already been shared. You all have watched that, I think. Okay, so just taken some from the net only. Some Garmin e-trace 10 version or 20 version. All this following the same formats. Okay, so whatever be the what is our main concept? We should be able to identify some satellites for viewing the distance of the GPS station from the satellites. Okay. So in the Garmin e-trace, let me try if I can open that video first of all. ഇതിന്റെ ഡെമോൺസ്ട്രേഷൻ എവിടെ ഉണ്ട്? എക്കോ കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? സൗണ്ട് കേൾക്കുന്നു, സൗണ്ട് കേൾക്കുന്നു. സ്വാലി, സ്വാലി.
Yes, miss. Miss.
ഉണ്ടല്ലേ?
Eh?
Okay, so is it now clear? അതായിരിക്കും പ്രശ്നം ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുള്ളത്. എക്കോ പ്രോബ്ലം ഉണ്ടോ? എനിക്ക് പറയുന്നത് കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? ക്ലിയർ ആണോ സ്വാലി?
Kekan, miss. Kekan, miss.
എക്കോ പ്രോബ്ലം ഇല്ലല്ലോ? ഓക്കെ, ഞാൻ വീഡിയോ ഓൾറെഡി ഇറ്റ് വാസ് shared in your classroom. I think you at least go through that. ഞാനത് ഓപ്പൺ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഭയങ്കര ഡിസ്റ്റർബൻസ് ഉണ്ടോ എന്ന് എനിക്ക് സംശയമുണ്ട്. Okay, so it'll be just so what you have seen from the video, it will be just anybody have gone to total station only. Many functions are there. So your first step will be to just click on the satellite page. Okay, first of all we have to retrieve which are the satellites on which we are overhead of our position. That satellites will be giving the details of our location. That's all. Okay, so just clicking on the menu page, we'll be able to identify the satellite page. From the satellite page, many satellites will be viewed. Okay, so I'll be just sharing that video and because some problem is there for me. You can just go through it. It's already clear through the demonstration. Okay. Okay. So this PDF it is already shared in your classroom. So this is the material you have to write as the procedure, but you need not write the complete procedure. Okay. It's around 17 pages in day, but the complete you need not write. You just write the brief of whatever I'm telling. Okay, first I'll be just explaining what is done in GPS. Okay, whatever you are seeing in that video, അതന്നെയാണ് ഇതിലുള്ളത്. അതിന്റെ procedure കൂടെ എനിക്ക് കിട്ടിയത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. So you will be to write the procedure from this. Okay, so the first some softwares are there like that. Just explain that's all only. So coming to the main portion, we have to identify what are the components of the GPS. So these are the components. Some buttons are there. There is a power button, then click stick button. It is just numbered here. Okay, so it is like a press button. There's a click stick button. Then there is a back button. Okay, then a side light on a back button under, and there is zoom buttons. There are two buttons, zoom in and zoom out. Okay, so from this our pages on that whatever with the details there is a main buttons coming on the outside of our GPS receiver. Okay. So power button is you already know to obtain the power. You will switch on the power by means of that button. That's all. And now click stick. It's like it will be performing like our mouse in the laptop. Okay. So from this clicking, we can go to the inner pages. Several pages are there in that menu, and that is done by means of either the menu button or by means of the click stick button. That's all. Okay. So these are the two main buttons that you should know. So using this, actually, what you're doing, the first step it is to take the menu button. Okay, the menu button will be first of all press, and then in the menu you can see menu. In this picture itself, it is explainable. Some map, word to, compass, way, mark waypoint, like that. Different options are there in the main menu. Okay, so these are the different pages that you can see in the menu. Okay, so in this, in which page to which you have to go, you will have to go deeper by means of your press or mouse button. Okay, so first of all, you will be just adjusting your GPS. That is, if the GPS has been used here, the previous date has been used for some survey purpose. In that case, some data will be already stored in that. Okay, you can eliminate, you can cancel that data first of all, and then you can use start with a fresh survey. Okay, okay. So this is the first step, getting started. After removing, that is for just starting with our new survey. The first process it is shown here. So what? Okay. So can you see this? I think it's visible to you. Okay, this is the satellite page. There's a satellite page in the main menu. So once you're taking the satellite page, you will be getting some details like this. So this points, it is indicating the satellites only. Okay, just some numbers you can see 3, 19, 25, 51, 23 like that. This is the satellites that it is visible directly to our receivers. That is just highlighted here. Okay, so the number of the satellites that is visible it is shown here, and now here it is shown the accuracy plus or minus 24. It is the accuracy. Okay, so once we are directed, as well as on the top right corner, we can see some latitude and longitude values. Okay, this is the north west like that. This already you have studied with reference to the north or with reference to the west. What is the angular bearing? It is indicated. Okay, so this is indicating the location of that particular point on which we have placed the receiver at this instant. Okay, and now on the bottom we can see the strength of the satellite signal. We already know some satellites have been sent, satellite signals are being sent, and this signals strength of that it is shown here. Okay, so from this we can identify whether the signal it is highly strong or less intense like that. Okay, that's all. So this is the satellite page. Details will be got. So once the satellite details are visible, next we can go to our survey. Okay, so next it is shown just the applications. The first application it is shown like marking and saving the waypoints. What is a waypoint? Waypoint means these are the points whose details we have to collect. Okay, So mainly we will be to collect the location of each of the points. For example, if we are doing some survey like drainage, it's a problem of drainage or like that, or it can be a problem of accident study or like that, or we will be to collect the details of some land use or buildings, residential buildings or commercial buildings or like that. Okay. For example, in the Google, you already know when you are going to some
I think Miss log out ആയി പോയി. ഒന്ന് വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. സീമ മിസ് ഓൺലൈനിലുണ്ടോ? സീമ മിസ് ഓൺലൈനിലുണ്ടോ? എ ബാച്ചില് അവന്തിക.
സർ ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടി ഉണ്ട് സർ. നമുക്ക് നോട്ട്സ് കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ല കേട്ടോ ഈ GPS-ന്റെ മെറ്റീരിയൽ.
Can you hear me? Karthik.
സർ ഇപ്പൊ കേൾക്കാം. ഹലോ. ഹലോ.
എന്താ റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യാത്തത്? അവന്തിക ഒരു കാർത്തിക്.
സർ നമുക്ക് കേൾക്കാനില്ല സർ പറയണത്.
ഓക്കെ സോറി. മിസ്സേ കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്തോളൂ.
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ ജിഗിൽ. അല്ല ഞാനിത് ജസ്റ്റ് ഓൺ ആയി വരുമ്പോഴേക്കും കാർത്തിക പറയുന്ന നോട്ട്സ് കിട്ടില്ല പറഞ്ഞത്. നോട്ട്സ് ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ഷെയർഡ് ആണല്ലോ, ഏതാ കിട്ടാത്തെ?
ഐ തിങ്ക് ചിലപ്പോ മിസ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടാവുക ബി ബാച്ചിന് മാത്രമായിരിക്കണം. കാര്യം നമുക്ക് എ ബാച്ചിന് ഞാൻ ഷെയർ
അത് വേണം ജിഗിലെ, ഞാൻ വേണം ഷെയർ ചെയ്ത് ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് കിടന്നിട്ട് എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും ഒന്ന് വെരിഫൈ ചെയ്യണേ. രണ്ട് ബാച്ചിൽ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
അല്ല ഇത് ബി ബാച്ച് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ആരെങ്കിലും ഒരാൾ ബി ബാച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നു? ഞാൻ ചെയ്തോളാം മിസ്.
അതായിരിക്കും. ഓക്കെ. So we can just continue. I'm share it on screen. Okay. So once we have our GPS receiver, what's our first step? We have to go to the menu page, and from this we'll be taking the satellite page. Okay. As I have already told, from the satellite page, you'll be getting some details like which are the satellites which that is visible to us. Okay. So likewise, what is the error? It is already shown. So this error, it is coming around plus or minus 24. It will be varying according to what is the type of the GPS receiver. Okay. And on the top, you can see what is the latitude and longitude of that location. Okay. So this latitude and longitude, it is the location of the first point that we are just verifying. So further, we can continue with our survey with whatever the points whose location details are to be collected. Okay. So for this, actually, we should have a map like which are the points whose. For example, I had told if your study is like a drainage problem or like that, it may be the pollution of the water body or due to the wells or like that. So if we are to locate that wells, okay, or what are the sources of water, it can be like pumps or like that. Whichever the points whose location details are to be collected, that points a rough location or a rough map can be prepared on our paper or book. Okay. So once it is prepared, we already have a rough idea of which are the points whose details are to be collected. That's all. Okay, so now we can take our GPS receiver to that points, and that is done here. Okay, for example, the first application it is shown marking the waypoint. So waypoint means this points whose details are to be collected. That's only a waypoint location that is explaining experiencing some drainage problem or area which is having some other problems, accident problem or like that. Okay. Only waypoint it is indicating a term for given to that location whose GPS details to be traced. That's all. Like waypoint page from the main menu we can get which is that waypoint to give some point name. It's like some file name. We'll be giving a three-digit number. In this it's shown 001. It is the file name. It's a point name given to that location. And if we want some give, we can give some symbols or like that. Okay, that's all. Okay, and further we can see here. Can you see this? Some location has been identified here. Okay, so this means that the location or the waypoint 001 has a latitude of north 37 degree 12 minutes and west 80 degree 23 minutes like that. And this point it is having some elevation to or not to like that. Okay, so that location and elevation details of that particular waypoint has been highlighted in this picture, in this figure 9. That's all. Okay. So that's all. Likewise, we can go to the further waypoints and we can collect the details of that. So once we are clicking on that waypoints, arbitrarily the details regarding that particular point, that's location means it is latitude and longitude and its elevation, all these details will be getting imported into the GPS. It's like your computer software only. Okay, so this data can be retrieved finally when we are just transferring that to a computer. So that's about the first application that is shown here. So second, it is just a finding that we are usually doing by GPS in our vehicles. We are using the GPS for finding the path to be followed to reach our destination. That is finding or navigating to a waypoint. Okay. So just there is a menu. There is a menu. There is a page like where to. Okay. So going to that, we can get the direction. Similarly, the next application, it is finding navigating to a waypoint that was defined by someone else. That is already some survey has been conducted on the previous day and we have to continue with that day. And the area also. Okay, when a complete polygon has been highlighted, for example, 5 points are there. This 5 points details regarding that has been inputted already imported into that by means of the waypoint function. Finally, we can obtain the area also. So that's done by the area calculation tool. Okay, so these are the main functions that is coming in the GPS. That's all. So So you can write the procedure of GPS in your record. The final your procedure, your experiment will be to use the handheld GPS. You can use this material. Okay, whatever I have shown here, this can be used for writing the procedure. So I'm telling you that just brief on whatever the details that is required. You can just like application. What is the use of the GPS? Okay, and further you can go. What are the components here? What are the buttons coming in the GPS? You can draw a picture, a small picture of this GPS. You can draw. It's a simple picture, and just write one or at least two two. Okay, I think. Okay, did you hear what is this? I explained here. So you should write completely about the satellite page. And one thing you have to note that, for example, in this material, it is written like U like that. Other avoid here. Okay. U എന്നുള്ള term ഒഴിവാക്കിയിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ എഴുതാം while writing the procedure. Okay. I think you are able to hear. And the second application, it is marking the waypoint. This also you can brief in one page. Okay. So in these pictures, all that you can see so many pictures. Figure nine, like the figure 10, so many other. Figure 10, if I think you can eliminate all this. Figure 9, it is an important picture. Get on. Figure 9, you can draw. Similarly, figure 11, just note down all this, whichever you have write down. You have to write down as the procedure for the record. Okay. Figure 10 and 11, you can avoid. So that means in this heading, application marking the waypoint, you can brief on whatever you are doing. Get on. Then next application is finding, navigating to waypoint. Again, one or two sentences within that you can complete your procedure. Okay. Then either this portion you can avoid, application 3, and finally area, that also you brief. Estimating the area measurement, you can brief what is a tool, area calculation tool is there, like that all that you can record. Okay. Okay. So within half a page, you can complete this area measurement. Okay. So this is a procedure you should write in your record taking this material. Is it clear? Is it clear to you whatever the procedure on GPS you have to write? Yes or no? Is it clear or not? Hridya? Hridya? No response is there? Okay, yes ma'am. Somebody else? Karthikine മനസ്സിലായി ബാക്കി എല്ലാവർക്കും എന്താ അവസ്ഥ? Okay, so only thing you can write down the procedure of GPS in your record, but we need only a brief procedure of using the GPS. കേട്ടോ അതിൽ മെയിൻ ആയിട്ടും ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് യൂസിങ് ദ സാറ്റലൈറ്റ് പേജ് അത് കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചില ഏതെങ്കിലും കൂടുതലാണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്ന പോയിന്റ്സ് ആണെങ്കിൽ അവോയ്ഡ് ചെയ്തോളൂ. Almost all, I think it is required for this using the satellite page. പിന്നെ അടുത്തത് that is locating the waypoint ആണ്. അതും ഒരുവിധം കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എഴുതാവുന്നതേ ഉള്ളൂ. And next deleting the അതിന്റെ മുന്നേ ഒരു deleting the previous messages ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ബ്രീഫ് ആക്കിയാൽ മതി. And finally area navigation and area അത് ബ്രീഫ് ആയിട്ട് എഴുതാം. കേട്ടോ. So finally in 5 or maximum 6 pages you can complete. Okay. So whatever the video I have already shared, ABAC students, Jikil sir will be sharing that. Okay, just go through that same procedure and brief ആണ് ഞാനിപ്പം ഒരു PDF ൽ explain ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. Okay. So I think we can wind up here. So first of all, I am just എനിക്ക് PDF ഒന്നും കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല ഇപ്പം ഷെയർഡ് അല്ലല്ലായിരുന്നല്ലോ.
Recording stop ചെയ്യട്ടെ.
Okay, we can wind up.
I'll stop the recording.
Yeah.